Hello, it's Heather King, author and workshop giver, author, etc. Arts and culture columnist. I haven't made a video in a while. Just, people are sending me these, AI is going to wipe out writers and this kind of thing. I don't even read them. I mean, the most annoying thing to me about AI thus far is that you can't. I tried to put an extension on my browser, on my Chrome, to stop the horrible thing from intruding first thing. Every single thing you put in the browser, AI comes up. Half the time, if the information is wrong, it's always redundant. Here's summer is hot. Here's the breakdown. Summer is a season that is often warmer than other seasons. Um, this is why the temperature will often it's just okay already. I hate that. I can't, so I can't get rid of it, but okay, this is life. But to me, yeah, from the beginning when I heard about AI was like, oh, this can, it can't be just like vomit, like, I mean, okay, it'll make some things easier, and I have used it for like if you want to um, like the stuff that's every writer I think hates, like working up a description of a workshop or something like that, or what you offer as a writing coach, stuff that is just going to be kind of boilerplate by definition. Full disclosure, I don't feel bad about that, and that's helpful. I don't know if it's worth, I guess, siphoning off the gazillions of water that it uses, but way more to the point. If you're a writer and you're worried about a writer or a reader, your job all along has been to learn to discriminate between excellent writing and the homogenized slop that is generated by AI. Like, how could you even remotely want that, or not be able to, in some sense, spot it? And again, the whole idea of, there's these New York Times op-eds, and they're like, oh, I used to hate AI too, but now it's my therapist, it's my friend, it's my. I'm like, really? Has our level of friendship sunk so low that a freaking bot, like a computer, is our friend and our therapist? Like, what is the level the abysmally low level of human interaction that would lead someone um, to to think that an artificial intelligence thing is your friend, much less, or your therapist. How can intelligent people be promulgating this absolute gobbledygook nonsense? And I think it's not just nonsense, it's just harmful. So then it's just, right, the culture that, to me, increasingly the level gets lower and lower and lower and lower, and otherwise intelligent people subscribe to and promote it. And I just find that very sad. So my solution is, sometimes, a lot of times I get also these, it's so kind of people to recommend things, podcasts, and I rarely listen to a podcast, simply because I'm too impatient. But even articles, these are like contemplative types, and after a while, I'm like, how, like, shouldn't you be spending more time in silent prayer? I just like you just sense some people are on the internet like all day, every day, looking at stuff, looking at YouTube's, looking at Catholic influencers. Another notion that makes me absolutely shudder. Um, to me, a Catholic influencer, you want to be an influencer, climb up on a cross and be nailed to it out of love. That's what it. That's be, Saint Miguel Pro, who while being shot before he's executed says, "Viva Cristo Rey." I mean, there's no influencing in Catholicism. It's you lay down your life for your friends, and you pray that is an attraction. So yeah, I'm very I'm very resistant to sort of celebrity priests, Twitter conversions. I mean, all these things that seems to me the deepest inner movement, and therefore the deepest movement period always takes place away from the eyes of a crowd. Always, Christ Himself went to a lonely place to pray, a silent place. If you're doing stuff to be seen by the crowd, that's just automatically. I mean, do what you want, but the point is, to me, that could never lead to a true conversion, more deeply than that. To me, it's I mean, listen, different strokes for different folks. I know. I mean, I'm a super sort of introvert type, and we need all types, and we need movers and shakers, and maybe converting online, to the tune of a zillion likes is maybe that does it. Maybe that is or will lead to a true conversion. How do I know? But I don't. The point is, how am I offering myself to be formed minute by minute, day by day? And so I don't watch news. I don't listen to news of any kind. I read, I have a New York Times subscription, and it comes up in October, and I'm really thinking I might just cancel it, because now the New York Times is an absolute propaganda arm. I don't believe one thing I read in it. I sort of read it just to see whatever the headlines say. I think, oh, okay, it's the opposite, or this is the. I mean, it's really, really sad. They still have some decent art stuff, and sometimes I read for the tennis articles. But if a publication consistently just disturbs me, that's on me. So I find, what. I get up in the morning, 2 hours of silent prayer, Lectio Divina. I mean, this is how to sort of resist, I think, these behemoth forces like artificial intelligence. Okay, take what you like and leave the rest. Use it, for whatever good you can. But artificial intelligence cannot do anything that a human being does, the best of what a human being does. It can't practice for decades to be a piano virtuoso. It can't sit across from you and tell a joke on the instant, because you're with another human being and you're watching each other's face and eyes and hand gestures, and you're in the moment. You're probably making fun of yourself. It can't suffer, obviously. It can't suffer. It can't, and therefore it can't love. And therefore, whatever it is, to me, not to worry. The other thing about, I'm not going to sit around and fritter what little time I probably have left on this earth, bemoaning. That's another thing the culture does, is suck us into these positions that we're, frantically passionate about for the moment anyway, either pro or con, this or that. It's like, I'd rather, listen, I'm as prey to that as anyone. I'm not saying I'm not, but, we had a death in the family this week. I have a grand niece, actually, 23, who died in a car crash. I guess she possibly had an epileptic seizure because there were no skid marks. She crashed into a tree. And, I'm the only person in my family who's Catholic. And so I was talking to this friend of mine, and she said, oh, you can get her a plenary indulgence because it's the Jubilee year of hope. I used to sort of laugh at that stuff, but I'm like, I checked it out. I'm like, oh, absolutely. I will absolutely do that. You go to confession and there are certain churches, I think, in each sort of town or halfway major city. I don't know if every single town has. Anyway, we have the Cathedral of St. Augustine here in Tucson. So you go, it's like this thing where you go through the doors of the sacrosanct or whatever the word is, the church that's been kind of nominated or appointed, and then you pray for the Pope, and I have this sheet, and you go to Mass, of course, and maybe sit before the tabernacle for half an hour, something like that. I mean, it's stuff I do all the time anyway, but and it's like, artificial intelligence can't do, couldn't begin to do something like that. Couldn't, yeah. So, and I think the other thing is, or one other thing, as a writer, it's not just the value of writing. Part of it is the work of art that you create and then, as best you can, give to the world. But maybe the even more deeply operative point is the change that labor works in you, the way you are formed by the willingness to sit still and do and really you have to order your whole life to it, as any real artist knows. It's not just the time you spend in front of the easel or whatever it is, or the cello or whatever, or your laptop. It's a whole life order to it, and so no, even if artificial intelligence could create something similar, which I simply, artificial, I can't believe it's going to have, ever be able to put in like the heart, the quirkiness, the individuality. But I would just keep writing anyway, because I am continually changed by it, because it's a way for me to lay down my body and blood, offer those to the world. So evermore I'm like, let's just be. If there's a way to I don't want to resist anything, but I mean, to me, the sort of antidote, if that's the word, to AI, or it is like, be yourself, insist upon being an individual. Like, again, the less I listen to the absolute just voices of insanity and absolute garbage around me. Not that everything is garbage, because it's also, if you listen carefully and look deeply, you'll find the kindred spirits. But the less attention I pay, and that means kind of being out of step often. I don't, I'll talk to my friends and like, oh, did you see blah blah blah, Ellington or Eddington or something, some new movie? I'm like, no, I haven't been to a movie theater in 5 years now. Although, believe me, I watch a ton of movies, but they're usually not new ones. And there's nothing wrong with that either, but I think we each have the responsibility and the obligation to choose, to really pay attention to the effect that the culture, what we read, what we hear, what we listen to, what we say, what effect does that have on us day after day? I become more aware of little moments in the day, this kind of indignation, when that upset me, or that disturbed me. And sometimes it is, often it's my own black heart or ridiculous reaction to petty hurts or something like that. But sometimes it's disturbance at something I've read that I could just as well have not read or looked at. So anyway, Yeah, and meanwhile, I just let's live our lives fully and be delighted and be interested in stuff. I was talking to another friend the other day. She's super depressed, and I'm just not interested in anything. And I get it, and yet it's like, well, that's our job. I mean, we can't be interested and on fire every second, obviously, of our lives, but and sometimes that stuff sort of ebbs and flows. But um, yeah, I just found out I'm flying to Dublin Thursday because I'm gonna, at long last, give my memoir writing workshop at Kylemore Abbey on the west coast of Ireland, Connemara. And I found out I thought I was going to be staying through Saturday, but it turns out I'm going to leave Friday, which gives me 2 nights in Dublin. I'm going to stay at the house of a dear friend of mine. And so I already, because I've been to Dublin before, and I'm like, oh, great, now I have all day Saturday. I'm going to go to the National Gallery, which I've never been to in Dublin. So I have to do some research because I want to make sure there's probably certain paintings that I really want to, or works of art that I really want to make sure I see. Then I'm going to go to there's this incredible food market in Temple Bar, which is as you know, like a chaotic nightmares place in Dublin. It's like crazy busy and stuff. However, there's this wonderful food mart with, last time I went there were, oh my gosh, like tins of fantastic kind of smoked octopus from some guy who had just come off a boat from the Bering Strait or so. Just wonderful um, sort of cheeses and pastas and really sort of exotic. So I want to go there, and then my beloved Dublin Botanic Gardens. I'm actually staying where I'm staying is not far from there, and then I'll go to 6 p.m. Vigil Mass at St. Columba's. So that, like, I love getting little itineraries together that's like ideal for me. Art, food, a garden, and Mass. I mean, I don't know. And my friend, I'm not sure if she's going to be there. I mean, that would be the obviously, absolute pinnacle of the whole thing. So we'll see. But yeah, and then I'm flying to New York, and that's a whole for 8 nights, and that's a whole other massive itinerary. And I mean, I say massive. I just mean for me, like, oh, the Botanic Garden there, which I've never been to. It's in the Bronx. I've been to a bunch of other gardens, but I've never been to that one. And I'm going to go to the Frick, where I've never been. There's a Louis Armstrong Museum in Queens, House and Museum. I want to go there. Um, so that is it. And it will be a lot of walking and a lot of figuring stuff out on my subway map, and, a certain amount of anxiety and probably hunger and uh, etc. And great, I'm up for it, and I'll be right next to one of my favorite churches, maybe my favorite church on earth, St. Vincent Ferrer on 65th and Lexington. So I am not going to allow my life to be taken over or in any way ruled by artificial with, like, on the one hand, what artificial intelligence and the real body and real blood. Man, Christ really knew what he was doing, a prophet in every way, because he must, and of course he knew, like, it would come to this, as culture progressed, quote unquote, more and more fake, less and less human, um, less and less delight in the individual, the wacky, the less curiosity, less willingness to leave our little safe enclave on our screen and go out into the world. So, anyway, I wish you all a wonderful, I guess it would be 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time tomorrow, and a Labor Day weekend. Um, and yeah, I will check in again when I can and when I am moved to. So thank you so much for listening. Check out my Substack, Desire Lines, Books, Culture, Art, my website, heather-king.com. Buy one of my many books. Sign up for one of my workshops. All of the above or none of the above. And just watch my next video. Thanks so much.